Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined by the inimitable Shano D.
That's me.
Wow, singing at the top. And we do have a very special episode for you today, themed around Earth Day.
It's Earth Day. Happy Earth Day, folks.
Personally, my favorite planet. I know we done her dirty, but she is a great little planet.
That's true.
Wow.
I do love her. I would be so sad if we ever had to leave.
Oh, I don't think it's going to go down like that. I think we'll just be straight up dead. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Well, when I went to the Sphere in Vegas, the
Yeah.
Darren Aronofsky planet Earth type thing.
Rip off, yeah.
Yeah, at the end it was like we had to leave the Earth and we were like living in like little factories above the Earth.
Cool, that'll be super chill.
And I was like, oh, so sad.
Earth is a banger.
She's a beauty.
She's a beaut.
There's so much beauty in this world.
Okay, it's a lot of singing so far. Hey, guys, we've got a juicy ep for you today. Our second story of the day, we'll be following up with the banter from here on out. But our second story, AITA for raging at my fiancé for using my daughter's wheelchair to move bags of grass cuttings. But first, folks, right on the Earth theme, AITA for here's Shano.
AITA for refusing to talk to my father about the flat Earth anymore. My father is a devout flat earther. He has believed in this shit for about 2 years now, and I have had numerous debates ever since. A lot of them become heated at some point. I usually try to keep calm and have a civil discussion with him, but he always states that I am just, quote, too slow for him and end up getting frustrated with me. And he ends up getting frustrated with me and starts yelling. Recently, I have been having stress-related issues due to these arguments that should have warranted a hospital visit, but we chose not to go. Luckily, nothing came of them. This morning when I got up, my father was watching a round versus flat earth debate, and even though I was scared an argument would ensue, I decided I would give him the benefit of the doubt and talk about the video with him when he tried to include me. As always, he started getting frustrated with me when I tried to explain to him that the sun is the same size at all times in the day, and on a flat earth, that would not be possible. Things started to get heated, and that is when I told him I would not talk about this topic or anything that has to do with it anymore. Well, he got upset with me and told me that I was just thinking of myself and that I was treating him wrong by assuming he wasn't going to change. Is this true? Am I the asshole in this situation?
Now, I haven't been vocal about it, but personally, I do believe Earth is flat.
Oh, okay.
I try
That
not to
makes
get into it
sense.
because it's very polarizing.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, you see out there, it ain't looking so curved.
There's
out there.
no curvature in the Earth.
I've never been in traffic, and I've been looking at that traffic. I'm not like those cars are hooking downward. It's clearly flat.
No. And like when you're seeing the skyline on the ocean,
Yeah,
it's a straight line, honey.
exactly. I see a ship coming from thousands of miles away, I reckon, over there.
And they're just falling off the edge.
Exactly. And we've all come close to the edge. We've all seen it there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as we know, you hit the edge of the dome, and that's when you realize you're on the Truman Show.
That's right.
Some people got that. Some
That's
people
a
did not.
great
It's a great.
movie.
I know some of the Gen Zs are like the Truman Show. What's that? It's
Oh,
one
you
of the
guys
great
need to go
millennial
watch
films.
it.
Like,
It's
it
so
was peak
good.
millennial.
One of my
I don't know
faves.
if it's millennial at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, what is this really about? Is it really about a flat Earth? No, it's not. In fact, I will go. Maybe this is not a smart move, but yeah, whatever. Fuck it. Let's go to the anti-vax during COVID. This was not the most straightforward time, right? It's not like being anti-vax generally, which is clearly insane because it's like, well, okay, there's a lot of years against you here. But COVID was a little crazy. I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't a little crazy, right? They're like, we're going to come up with a vaccine tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, what happens in these situations is, and I think this OP describes it, this becomes heated.
Right.
Heated.
Every time, it sounds like.
Any time is enough for me. And I think this is a key thing to realize, that I think this is a big boy. I've been trying to say for a while, study the emotion, feel the emotion, but anger is a dangerous emotion because when you are angry, boy, you might say any variety of things. That is not a clear-headed mental state.
True.
And that's what heated means. Probably there's a degree of anger there. So I am very against, and also, and it should be a warning sign to you. And I'm getting better at it with time. I very seldom get angry, but now I take my anger very seriously because I'm like, I know I only get angry unless some shit is going down, and figure out why are you getting angry about this? Like, and I've had debates with my father, God love him, about stuff, and I'm like, why are you at a 10 about this?
Oh,
Why?
Like it just doesn't warrant this reaction.
No, like obviously if I came at my dad and I was like, I think Cuba is a paradise, of course he's going to get angry. He's a Cuban refugee. He left there. They left to go to a better life. Obviously he has a right to be angry about that.
Yeah.
We've talked about things that have nothing to do with his experience, much like this situation. And it's like, you should be seriously concerned if you're getting emotional, I said it, fuck it.
Yeah.
About whether Earth is flat or not, because honestly, it's just, whether it's true or not, it's really not super relevant. You know? It's not coming up a whole lot.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? It's such a it's such a wild stance to
It's a wild stance.
the hill to die on. There are no hills though. It's just flat.
There are no hills. All flat. That I don't know if that's exactly what they're saying, but
What if that's
radical flat Earthism. Mountains are an illusion.
Yes. Yeah, it's just such like it's like we don't have to deal with it every day. Like it's just something that we don't have. It doesn't affect anyone's lives, whether it's round or flat. We're all just out here. We're out here
Very few
living.
people. Cartographers are crazy for it, but you know.
Yeah, or I guess
map
like
makers.
astronauts, but like
Yes.
how few of them are in the world.
I don't not running into cartographers or astronauts too often.
No.
Those are not big industries in LA.
No. So it's just like it's just something to get mad about.
Yes, I think the conspiracy theory, I've chewed on this for some time. What is the conspiracy theory? Well, it's a belief that I know more than others. But that's fundamentally what it's about. Now, not always, right? I think some of the COVID people were validated because it turned out the whole lab hypothesis is still plausible or whatever. I seem to remember some update like that.
Okay.
But the conspiracy theory, like what's another one that's not as crazy? The 9/11 conspiracy theories. It's like, I know what really happened. They don't. And it's sort of this self-aggrandizing thing. And we see this very directly. What does he do? He actually insults OP. He says, too slow. I'm smarter than you. That's what the
Yeah.
conspiracy theorist fundamentally believes.
Right. And why? Like why?
I think it's an ego thing.
Yeah.
It's an ego boost. And a lot of men that are pushed to the side of society or maybe don't see themselves as successful, maybe they're actually not successful and they're struggling, they tend to embrace these beliefs. I mean, really, a lot of hatred toward women also kind of gets this flavor, right? We start to get into these toxic beliefs about women. You know, women only want tall guys, which is like, that's like rhymes with some aspect of the truth, but it's like, no, I mean, you probably just don't know any women because men are much more shallow than women. Have you met men?
True.
You know, like give me a break.
Facts. I know, and then they do get like so mad if like we have any kind of like rule or standard for our own personal selves, and then they're like, "Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean?" And it's like you do that to us constantly our entire lives, and that's all we're ever doing is trying to live up to these goddamn standards that you put on us. Heaven forbid heaven forbid we just want you to be maybe taller than us. Like that's and honestly. Coming from someone that's a tall woman, that has so less to do with the man that it has to do with me wanting to feel like smaller and daintier. Right. You know, like it's not really that I find shorter people unattractive. It's just I want to feel smaller.
Right. No, and I appreciate you have told me not in any recorded form that 5'8" is the most beautiful height, but it's not for you. And I understand that.
Perfect male specimen. Yeah. But I obviously can't have them.
No, and
so I have
that.
learned that I have to go with the taller men.
Yes. Yeah, it's inconvenient for you.
Yeah. They don't want me.
No,
that's what it is.
I can't. You know, and I have a similar thing. I'm happy you said it because I feel the same thing, and I'm not ashamed of that.
Yeah.
I want a girl to be smaller than me.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people do. And you know what, short girls out there, save the tall boys for us, okay? We have a smaller pool.
Thank you. And the tall boys, get away from the short girls. What the fuck are you doing?
Exactly.
Who do you think you are? Stay up there with your people, motherfucker.
Thank you.
So annoying. We really made this about ourselves.
Yes, we really did.
Flat earthers, I don't
Flat
care what it
earthers.
is. Honestly, here's the thing about flat earth that's nice. At least it's not bigotry. It's just stupidity.
Mhm.
But
yeah, luckily they're not hurting anyone.
yeah, they're not. They're not.
They're just hurting us with how stupid they are.
Right. I just feel like this is a good way, though. This is a good thing to just practice. And we've been kind of talking around this today, but just like, look, just don't talk about it. And people need to respect that with each other. And it's a very legitimate boundary. Hey, I know you got your beliefs about vaccines or flat earth or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Don't talk about it with me. End of story.
Right.
That's it.
And it was so interesting in the last paragraph here when the dad gets upset and tells OP that OP was just thinking of himself and that OP was treating the dad wrong by assuming that the dad wasn't going to change. So isn't that strange? It's almost like, so now he's like, well, wait, now you're assuming I'm never going to change my mind about the flat earth, but keep arguing with me and maybe I will. It's like he wants them to fight with him.
Yeah, I think that's my other thing is that some people need attention and they'll take shitty attention over none.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what dad is maybe doing. It's like, there's people who are chaos addicts, but I don't need to go all that far into it. I just think that like some people just don't know how to be fucking chill. And like there's other ways to connect with people. You don't need to be arguing. I used to do this. I will say, me and my dad, we used to go at each other. And I think with time, what I've realized is a heated debate isn't really productive. It's just not.
Yeah.
If you want to hash it out with someone and have an intellectual argument, it should be pretty cold and not too heated. Otherwise, what are you really doing? You're yelling at each other. And I've also realized this. It's like when we talk about politics and complicated issues, it's a much healthier mindset to think everyone is right. Now figure out why they're right and why you're right and where you disagree and what this is really about, because things are very complicated. I remember we had a death penalty debate in high school. And I remember being like, we literally could not agree on any fact. No fact was agreed on. And that was a moment where I was like, yeah, well, we're all trying. We all had the internet. The internet had just came out, so it was like really cool. And but we couldn't agree on the facts. And so I just feel like there's so many times I was just like, let's not talk about that. And he won't let them not talk about it.
Because it was a school, like it was an assignment.
Yeah, it was an assignment. Assignment. And it changed how I viewed arguing, because I was like, we both it wasn't that either team won. No team could win really, because the facts were just so disputed.
Right.
Some people were like, it's effective. The death penalty works. There's a study that shows it works. It deters crime, blah, 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 blah. Well, we have a study here that says it doesn't deter crime.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we really arguing about? And people get into heated debates without actually getting anywhere. And it's no point. It's no point in this. You could be having a nice interaction.
Totally. It's like, let's just agree to disagree. And it really does feel like the dad doesn't want that. Like he doesn't want, it's like he doesn't want his son to agree with him or not to agree with him, or like he just wants to have the debate, it feels like. Because then at the end, the whole like, why are you assuming that I would never change my mind? And it's like, oh, well, are you trying? I haven't seen any evidence that you would change your mind.
Yeah.
And it probably is fucking infuriating to live with somebody who's watching freaking round versus flat earth debates on TV.
Yeah, who's that between like Aristotle and Socrates? Like, what the fuck? Where'd you get that shit?
Yeah, where do you find that? What channel is that on?
It's the morons versus the stupids, folks. It's a big one today.
It's like, I mean, that going on in your own home, like, yes, he's probably a teenager or something, this kid, so like he doesn't really have much of a choice. And if he's not, then he is choosing to live with his father, whatever. But it's toxic. It's like toxic to have this kind of shit going on in your house all damn day. I mean, even luckily my dad has kind of come off of it, but like
Oh boy.
during just watching the news, just like constant watching the news, and it started like more intensely like the 2016 election, COVID, whatever, so on and stuff. And I mean, he's liberal, but it was just like it's not like it was like Fox News or something like that, but it was just constant. And it was like, oh my God, like when I would go to visit them, and like my poor mom, like she had to get him off of it. Cause it's like, okay, well, you're being so indoctrinated in the like hate of the world.
Yeah.
Because all news is bad news. Yes. There's almost no good in the news. It's all reporting on the negative. And if it is good, it's called a fluff piece.
Right.
And no reporters want that because they want the serious, hard-hitting facts. Well, why can't the news be fucking positive?
Right.
It's so infuriating. And so being around this all the time as OP, like, my God, it would be mind-bogglingly painful.
It's rage bait. You know, it's rage bait. And I think a lot of people sit there and they get enraged. And I think that's why we're so polarized as a country. And it's ridiculous and it's not productive. Nonetheless, I think we're aligned here. I think we have a father here that won't drop the issue. And a lot of it's dropping too. And let me just say this. Obviously, I don't really feel this way about flat earth because I don't even know who was pushing. Does anyone have a reason to push the flat earth?
No.
Like, why is that theory even pushing? People are just bored.
Yeah.
But like with politics, it's like, yeah, they want us to be divided. They don't want the, working class to recognize that it's actually working class versus the super rich people. They don't want that. They want us to be mad about all kinds of different issues. That way it's not clear that we're getting screwed over. But yeah, and I've just realized, like, I don't even hold it against people because this is what you got to was what I realized too, is like people's experience, which can include consuming brainwashing news media. That's just why they believe what they believe. It's really nothing to do with them. They sat there and watched whatever stupid TV show. And I'm like, there's so many aspects to this person that I can like enjoy discussing with, like whatever it is. Talking about the mountain, bruh, and snowboarding or whatever it may be. Yeah. And it's just like, let's move away from it. Let's not go there.
Like politics and stuff.
Whatever's getting them heated.
Yeah. Stay away.
AITA for refusing to talk to my father about the flat earth anymore. I am saying, not the asshole, and he is. He's insulting you with too slow. He's refusing to drop it. And then he's like manipulating you back into having a conversation you said he didn't want to have.
Absolutely. NTI.
Guys, please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon. Patreon.com/AITA pod. Over 200 bonus episodes. Ad free. Join us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. Here we go. AITA for raging at my fiance for using my daughter's wheelchair to move bags of grass cuttings. I, 30F, have a daughter, Hazel, 8F. Hazel was born with a rare condition called tethered cord syndrome, and she uses a wheelchair to get around. Hazel's father hasn't been in the picture since she was a toddler, and now I have a fiance, Mark, M34. Mark and I have been together for a total of 3 years. He has a son, Eddie, M14. We have quite a large yard, and the other day, Mark and Eddie were doing some yard work. Hazel was still sleeping, and I went outside to see what they were up to. That's when I noticed that Eddie was using Hazel's wheelchair to move bags of grass cuttings and dead plants. I immediately stopped him and asked what on earth was he doing with her wheelchair. Eddie sheepishly told me that Mark told him to use it and that it would be fine. After taking the things off my daughter's wheelchair, I asked Mark if this was true. Mark admitted that he took the wheelchair to use it to move stuff. He said that Hazel was sleeping and they weren't going to use it for long, so he didn't think it'd matter. I started raging at Mark and yelling at him and saying that what he did was disrespectful to my daughter. He has no right to go and take her things, let alone something she needs to move around, and told him he's acting like a douchebag. Mark apologized, but I was still royally pissed and went back inside the house and didn't say anything to him. Later that day, he said I was wrong for my reaction and that I was majorly out of line, especially for acting that way in front of his son. I don't think I was out of line, but Mark is expecting an apology? AITA. Bro.
Wow, Mark.
Bro. I mean, sir?
Sir?
Are you asleep at the wheel? Oh, didn't mean that to be a pun thing.
Oh.
Regrettable.
Regrettable. Well, I'm not gonna lie. When I first read this, I was kind of like, "What's the big deal?" But the more I, read the comments and like really thought about it, and I mean, wheelchairs are very expensive.
They're medical. Yeah, no, you're right. I will admit that didn't see it as immediately offensive, and I think we've all understood. You're looking for something with wheels. Wheelchair got big old wheels. Perfect for getting over that backyard. I understand it.
Yeah.
Thanks for admitting that. I'm happy we started on that. It was a little understandable.
But yes, they're very expensive. I mean, it's literally her way to get around. Like, it's not just like a, luxury item for her or something. Like, it's literally her means.
It's incomparable to anything really as an able-bodied person, right? I'm able to just go about on my own leg. It's like taking someone's prosthetic leg.
Right.
Like, they legit can't go anywhere.
Yes. And if he had broken it, I mean, that would have been so expensive.
Yep.
Such a nightmare to have to go and get. And a lot of these wheelchairs are like very, like the specifications of them are very specific to its owner. Like I've seen some, not episodes, some videos online of they were kind of trying to show awareness about how some airlines are not, they don't handle the equipment well because a lot of times they have to like check their wheelchairs. Right. And there was like heartbreaking videos of the people discovering that their wheelchair was broken. And this is when they're going on a vacation. So literally, what are they supposed to do? It's not even like their home or anything to be able. And once again, so unbelievably expensive. And I think it was like they were like, oh, well, here you can use this other wheelchair. And it's like, no, so many people have very specific wheelchairs that are made just for them and their needs.
You're sitting in it for so long. I mean, it needs to be.
You can't just use like any old generic wheelchair that's going to be at the airport. And then also they're on vacation. So your airport wheelchair is not going to help them for the rest of their trip. So they were basically the videos were getting posted because they were trying to spread awareness of like, there needs to be a better system.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Sickening. Yeah, I think to even get away from that, I think this is a very extreme condition. But I was also thinking, or like extreme circumstances, I'm saying, but like, it's also just not okay to use someone's thing without asking. And then to use it in this way where it's like, you're kind of exposing it to all these outdoor elements.
True, yeah.
Like even a one wheel. If someone was like, yeah, I'm using your one wheel to do something without asking, it's just like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's got mud on it now. And they're like putting dirt and just yard shit on this wheelchair. And it's just...
Yeah, dead plants, grass cuttings. Like, also, you don't know all of those little things could, like, get into the, what is it called? Bearings,
and fuck it up. And also, it's just disrespectful to her. Like, that's her wheelchair. That's a get permission. And honestly, I think that's even kind of, like, not appropriate to ask.
I think so, too.
It's, like, such a core thing.
Yeah, I mean, yes, she was still sleeping, but like, what if then she woke up? And I don't know what her system was with her wheelchair, but I would assume that she would probably need it.
Yeah.
Almost immediately.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, it's like, it's just kind of, it's such a critical item. Like, again, there's just really no analogy. It's like if someone only had one keys to their car, this is the closest I can come. And then you were using their key to unscrew something. Like, that's going to cause a serious problem.
Right.
Oh, but no, it's probably not going to break. It's like, I know, but you're being very risky with something that will severely impact my life.
Right. That would at least take time, regardless, to like get a new one and money.
Yes. Super selfish, super self-centered, no appropriate sense of boundaries, straight up disrespect. Now, I think the thing that really boils my blood is... But an understandable mistake. And I like that you brought us in on that because I can see the logic. And look, let's hope the wheelchairs are well built. So you go, well, it's not going to break. It's a tank. It's built. It's fucking built. I mean, let's face it. It's built to carry a person. So it's built easily to hold 100 pounds, 200, 300 pounds. We're putting some sticks on the thing.
Yeah. But I do think a lot of the damage that comes from wheelchairs is the opening and closing of them.
Sure. But we understood the intuition. And so I am ready to say I'm not going to pretend that there's no circumstance in the world where I can imagine being Mark and saying, yeah, use it. It's fine.
And not thinking, yeah. Like,
it's douchey and stupid, but I can understand it. But where Mark really does piss me off, and my blood boils, is I was wrong for my reaction, because this to me, and like I just see this in a lot of guys, honestly. I see it in a lot of guys. I mean, I see it in myself to an extent too. But I usually I have to force myself sometimes to be like, well, yeah, I don't like the reaction. I don't like it. And it bothers me. But like, was it valid? And it was. And it's what it is it's weaponizing someone's reaction against themselves. Here's what it is. Instead of being like, I wonder why I got that emotion out of someone.
Right.
It's that I didn't like that emotion. And how dare you put that emotion in front of me?
Yeah.
And it's like, why don't you go in your fucking head and think, well, why did they get so angry?
Exactly.
Maybe there's a reason.
Reflect back.
Yes.
Totally. And oh my God, like, because again, like I could see myself being in a situation like this where I was just like an idiot and not thinking, and like, oh wow, like that was a dumb move of me. And yeah, if somebody acted that way, I can't imagine turning it around back on them. It's like, think about it. Think about why it would. And maybe if you still don't agree with it, then maybe ask some questions.
Yeah.
Be like, wait, hold on, I'm confused. Like, what did I do wrong? Like, if you still don't understand it, if you're reflecting and you still don't get it, ask. Don't just be like, you were wrong and that was so embarrassing in front of my son. Fuck off.
Right.
If you do something wrong, then you have to face the consequences sometimes. And it was an emotional reaction because it's very personal what you did. You took something without asking.
Yep.
And there's a lot of emotionality around her daughter having this disability anyway.
Of course.
And you want to protect your daughter at all costs.
Yes.
So, of course, Mama Bear is going to Mama Bear.
And I think this actually fits in with the first situation as well. It's being able to understand, and obviously flat earth is a ridiculous belief, but it's also thinking about how the other person got to where they got. Now with flat earth, it's from watching the most bonkers videos you ever did damn see, but it's understanding from Mark's point of view, what he should have done is think about how we got to that thing. And it's probably because, like you just said, this is a serious disability and this is therefore a monstrous thing to do. And by the way, I think we've hit this before, but in front of his son, like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you damage your brand in front of your son?
Exactly. Like, are you not allowed to look like the bad guy ever in front of your kid? Maybe that's a good life lesson for the kid to realize that his parents aren't perfect.
Own it. Hey, son, I want you to know I messed up. I shouldn't have given you permission.
Yeah.
Dad wasn't thinking, and
it wasn't your fault. Like,
it wasn't your fault.
Don't worry. Like,
you
don't need to take this on. It was me. Like, I think it's actually extremely healthy for kids to see their parents fuck up and take ownership.
I remember, I don't remember the incident, but I remember being like, oh, my parents are people?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, really?
I know. Oh.
Nonetheless, I think we're all aligned here. Everybody's saying NTA. I think it's a very clear NTA. AITA for raging at my fiance for using my daughter's wheelchair to move bags of grass cuttings. I'm an NTA, Shano.
Yeah, NTA.
Guys, please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon. Patreon.com/AITA pod. Over 200 bonus episodes. Discord community. Shano's killing it. Check out our TikTok. Check out our Instagram. Check out our YouTube shorts. And here she is.
AITA for telling my husband I'd let him repopulate Earth if he was the last man alive. This whole mess started when I brought up my friend Aurora, who my husband dislikes. I asked him if he'd be okay sitting with me while I play Animal Crossing with her. He said, fine, as long as he doesn't have to be stranded with us on a deserted island. I got to thinking about what would happen if me, my friends, and my husband were all stranded on a deserted island. I asked my husband what he would do, and he just said that he would shake trees. It's a thing in the game. Then I guess I made an insensitive joke, question mark. I asked him what he would do if we were the last people on Earth. He shrugged at me, so I said I'd let my friends borrow him so we could repopulate the species. I thought this was an obvious joke, but my husband went ballistic. He raised his voice at me, saying he wasn't something to be loaned out and demanded that I acknowledge the sanctity of our marriage. I do, I really do, and I told him as much, but he insisted I give him a few hours to cool off. I thought the joke was funny and that he'd laugh, but clearly he thinks I went too far. AITA?
Certainly an unexpected reaction. I would have laughed that off and been like,
Truly.
but I could also see if he had doubled down into it and be like, yeah, I'd love to fuck all your friends.
Yeah, of course.
She'd be like, okay, actually, now that you're saying it, not a big fan of that comment.
Yeah.
It's dangerous ground.
I guess so. Yeah.
Right?
I could see it then being like, yeah, like if he's like, oh yeah, well, I have always wanted to fuck Stacy. I'd be like,
Exactly.
okay.
Too much.
So yeah, I guess you kind of are playing with fire a little bit by making that joke, like potentially, lining him. Like maybe she was like trying to line him up to be like, okay, well, are there any of my friends that you want to fuck?
It's just like one of those topic areas that is a little touchy. I mean, I think this is a big insight for, and I'm not saying a gender reversal is always appropriate, but somebody I thought
comments,
yeah, Midnista writes, my first thought was that he's overreacting, but then I remember this guy Jeff we know. He told us that if he ever met Connery, who he's obsessed with, he'd quote give him his now ex-girlfriend a fuck. And there's something about a man giving a woman,
like just
as
loaning.
if he owns her.
Yeah,
it's immediately, obviously, it invokes a whole history of sexism that we don't have on the male side, but it is still objectifying. It doesn't have to be sexist to be objectifying and rude.
Yeah, I think in this case though, it's like not she. In this completely made up scenario, she's not objectifying her man. She's just more being like, yeah, well, we would need a way to repopulate the earth. And if it was just you and I fucking, then we wouldn't be able to, or else the whole species would be fucked up because it would just be interbred.
I agree. Like I said, I don't think this is really that big of a joke. I think if a guy made the joke, it invokes a little bit more ugliness. But like in the end, I kind of thought his reaction, even though I wouldn't have reacted the same way, he was being pretty reasonable. He got hot. He didn't insult her. He just said that she wasn't acknowledging the sanctity of the marriage. And then he did something we rarely see from a man, a kind of reasonable thing. I need some space to cool off, which is pretty much acknowledging that he got hot.
Yeah.
I kind of give him props for that.
Yeah. I mean, a few hours seems like super excessive. Because
so now we're judging him. He asked for too much space.
I just think that it's so like strange to be like this heated over a hypothetical joke to need a few hours. But I do understand what you're saying. Like, yes, that is the more appropriate thing to do. But, she did say he went ballistic. He raised his voice. Does seem like I would be a little like, whoa, like I almost feel like your reaction's a little worse than what I said.
But it is a reaction. I mean, I would say it does seem like a classic case of like, if it's hysterical, it's historical. Like, is there something underneath this? Like, yeah, it doesn't look, it's not a predicted reaction. Even if a man made this comment to a woman, it just, to me, we're talking about like Animal Cross. It's like not really that heavy. It's not like I'm gonna give you away so other man can use your body. It's like okay, it's not like that tone really.
I mean, maybe it was like the way she phrased it, because I'm thinking if she was just like, like we should probably like you should probably have sex with the other women so we can repopulate the earth. Like instead of it being like all let my friends borrow you. Like there is like a weird kind of feeling of like I own you and like you are a piece of meat, instead of it being like, well, well, we'd have to figure out a way to keep the species alive. So I guess you'd have to,
Yeah.
where it's like not as ownership vibes. And I do think, especially when you reverse the genders, like I would, like if, my boyfriend said this about me, I'd be like, okay, so you can just loan me out. Like that's not how I fucking work.
Yeah.
I have autonomy here.
Right.
And I'd want to fuck your friend. So let's do it.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Shannon is on one today, people. I love it. Yeah. So I guess I feel like, look, I agree with you. I'm on the same page. I don't think this is a joke that I would have much of a reaction to. And I also feel like this hypothetical situation's kind of played out. Whatever. He felt some kind of way. He didn't insult her. He felt how he felt.
Mm-hmm.
She owes him an apology. I just feel like this is straightforward to me. I'm like, yeah, he got angry. He felt violated by it. It was a touchy topic. You're talking about somebody fucking your friends. You're talking about somebody else's sexuality. It didn't, right? Like, it doesn't feel retributive. Like, I've got nothing to say other than the fact that for whatever reason, this joke triggered. Hey, there could be you could be triggered by anything. Like, I always use the example of the dead dog, right? Like somebody's dog, like say you had a dog, you don't have a dog, but say you had a dog, your dog dies. I don't know. I didn't check your Insta story,
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, God, it smells like crap in here. It smells like a dog died.
Oh, yeah.
That triggers you. It's like, well, I didn't have any malicious intent, but it's still like gonna hurt you because I just brought up this thing that hurt you. I don't know why this hurt him.
True. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this acknowledge the sanctity of our marriage. I mean, that does kind of ring of like, is there other shit going on here?
I mean, I think there must be something because I don't know why else you would react this much. Maybe she's like, and I'm actually going to an island. I'm going to Hawaii next week. And he's like, something just smells, but like, I don't know.
Who the hell knows? I don't know. I can't really go YTA. I don't really think she's an asshole. She just said something silly.
I think she needs to apologize. I mean, I have the same policy. Look, if I did a stand-up show and for whatever reason I hurt someone, obviously I wouldn't have been personal. They just hurt for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, hey, it just hurt me when you said this joke. I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry I hurt you.
Yeah.
Like, what does it cost me? Nothing. And I just feel like her attitude is very much just like, what? It's funny. He'd laugh. And it's like, well, it wasn't funny. It didn't land. Acknowledge the botch. Say sorry. So if she says sorry, then I would say it is no assholes here. But right now her attitude seems to be very much just like, I'm right.
Yeah. I almost feel like I would be like, I'm sorry that I hit a chord there, but like, is everything okay? This seems like, is everything all right in our relationship? It feels a little bit intense the way you reacted to that.
Okay, I don't love that. I think I would maybe be a little more gentle and be like, I was concerned with how you reacted. Like, I didn't understand how you reacted. Could you help me understand?
Yeah.
Rather than judging it, being like, it was really intense.
Well, what you did was weird as fuck.
Thanks. Yeah, no. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll just open up.
I don't know that I'm going to acknowledge the sanctity of our marriage after that
was
one,
weird
honey.
as fuck. Yeah, I think it's approaching it with a non-judgmental thing. Just be like, I didn't understand your reaction. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I caused the reaction. I didn't intend that. To me, it was a stupid joke. So I just wanted to understand better and starting the conversation like that instead of being like, what? It was just an obvious joke.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily go in like diminishing. Yeah, I guess maybe that's what I did, but I'll take your advice. That's what I'm going to do tonight when I get home. This was my situation.
What?
I'm joking.
No. Max would not.
Gotcha.
That's ridiculous. I think we're lined up here. I mean, I really don't like this comment from Reddit that was deleted, which it should have been. Jesus fuck, 150% not the asshole. Obvious joke, obvious overreaction. I just think... I think, look, if you're in a situation with someone and they keep quote unquote overreacting, then you guys are probably incompatible. Like they're too sensitive to be around you. Like, like I said, I don't think this is that offensive of a joke, but like you care about this person And if you care about them, you don't get to judge their reaction as being too intense. You gotta try to understand it and make it work with them.
Yeah, if this was like an ongoing thing, I would be like, oh, maybe it's just like a compatibility issue. But I honestly would maybe go like, no assholes here. I really don't think either one of them's being.
If she says sorry,
yeah.
Okay, I can meet you there.
Okay.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap up here on a listener submission, getting away from our Earth Day theme. Would I be the asshole if I uninvited my future sister-in-law from being a bridesmaid? I, 25F, got engaged to my fiancé, 30M, in October 2023. Within a month, we'd chosen a wedding date in September 2024. Early in 2023, I quote-unquote proposed to my bridesmaids, my sisters, my best friends, and my fiance's sister, 23F, who often goes on double dates and group hangs with us. I genuinely enjoy her company and also thought including her in the bridal party would be a nice gesture. At the end of January 2024, fiance's sister got engaged and announced she would be getting married in July of this year. In short, they got engaged after us and scheduled a pretty speedy wedding before us. I was a little bummed at the amount of stress the double weddings would cause their family, but I tried to roll with it and save my venting for therapy. As her wedding has gotten closer, my future sister-in-law has deliberately excluded me from things. Dress shopping, the bachelorette trip. When my fiance asked about it, she just said, "Oh, I honestly didn't think she'd be interested." At this point, the exclusion feels intentional and hard to ignore, especially since she has accepted a spot in my bridal party and said she would like to go on my bachelorette trip. Would I be the asshole if I sat her down and just asked, "Hey, it doesn't seem like you want to be mutually supporting each other, and I'm wondering if you still want to be a bridesmaid." AITA. I'm excited, Shannon.
You are?
You are. Well, this is the world of Bridesmaids. What a great movie, by the way.
Love that movie.
So good. Maybe it's a little. Every boy I talk to thinks it's a little long, but women love the length.
Oh, really?
Just felt it could have been a much funnier 90 minutes, but instead it's too.
I actually know what you mean now that you say that. Yeah, it is a little bit longer. What is it? 2 hours?
2:10, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do remember thinking like, okay, let's get you wrapped up.
Need all the drama.
There's like a couple not plot points, but a couple of just points in general that are like, this could have been cut.
Hey, there's the little Bridesmaid for review in 2024, but you guys should see it if you haven't. Anyway, Shano,
what
do you think
about this?
Yeah.
Well, I definitely think that she has every right to maybe sit her down and just be like, hey, what's going on here? Like, I'm feeling a bit excluded. Like, I like the way she phrased it, honestly, like the mutually supporting each other kind of thing. I think that, especially because it's happening at the same time, like all of this is going down literally at the exact same time, which honestly does feel like a lot.
So their wedding is in September 2024. Do we get when the other wedding is? I don't know if we got that, but whatever. It's obviously in the same time.
Yes, she's getting married in July of the same year. So just 2 months apart.
She kind of got it forward. Oh, wow. You're good at month math. Yeah, I guess I feel like, first of all, we had this talking point. Yeah, this might be a little bit of thunder stealing. Was that the bonus we were talking about, thunder stealing? Or is that? Yeah, we're talking about thunder stealing. I think thunder stealing, it's a crime. It's being aware, especially with the wedding. We've talked about this a lot. The crime of thunder stealing is basically to get in front of someone's thunder. It's a moment where somebody does get to be the center of attention for whatever reason. And yeah, it can be a rude thing. Sometimes it happens, but this doesn't feel like it happened. It feels like someone chose to make it happen. She goes to therapy. She puts it away. Very reasonable.
Yep.
Very reasonable.
Very.
Probably the politically savvy move here, right? Because it's his family. So you don't want to fuck around and make a bunch of noise. But she then does the vulnerable thing, invites Sil, sister-in-law, to be a bridesmaid. And this is vulnerable because she doesn't know if it's going to be reciprocated, right? So she's kind of taking the risk.
Well, they're not even engaged yet. The sister-in-law isn't yet. But yeah, like in the future.
Sorry, you lost me there. What are you saying? Who isn't engaged yet?
So OP got engaged before sister-in-law.
Yes.
And then sister-in-law got engaged a few months later.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, like, she didn't know that she was maybe going to get reciprocated because she wasn't even engaged.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. She didn't do it with that explicit intent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was a bid for closeness, to become closer.
Right.
It was a kindness. I think it was an appropriate thing to do.
I do feel like now that I'm like looking at it from that perspective, is a lot of times fiancés, let's say women, and men too, whatever, they like to include their fiance's siblings, but often it's not really the other way around, where like I would necessarily, say I had a brother, include my brother's girlfriend, fiance. Like a lot of times people have their partner's siblings in their wedding party, but they don't, it's not typical to have like your sibling's partner in your wedding party.
So there's a precedent.
Now that I'm looking at it that way, yeah.
Has this. Yeah, so you've seen this.
Yeah, I don't really think it's that common the other way around.
So so let me think. So I'm marrying this girl, and then she
Or you
Oh.
have her brother in your wedding party.
I would have her brother in my wedding party.
But then he goes to get married. He wouldn't necessarily have his sister's partner in his wedding party. It's more typical to like extend that olive branch to your sibling, your partner's siblings, so that they can be in your wedding.
But doesn't that work both ways?
No, because you're just the sibling's partner.
Oh my God, this is my weakness. Okay,
Okay.
hold on. All right, so fuck.
Okay, listen
All right,
up.
So Andy, can you do this with me and my brother?
Let's do Andy,
Yeah, pretend that we have girlfriends.
Okay. Well, this is going to be really
This
hard.
hurts my
for me.
head so much.
Okay.
Your partner's sibling. So my fiance's brother. My fiance's brother. I bring him in.
Yes, because your partner would want her brother in the wedding party, the collective
And he
wedding
would invite
partner.
his fiance's brother, but I'm not his fiance's brother.
And he would, yes, exactly.
Got it. Okay, I get it. It's not a mirror. Okay, it's not reciprocity. You're
Yes.
right.
It isn't.
You're right.
And like, for example, my best friend, she has a brother and her husband has a sister.
Yes.
So because each one of them wanted their sibling in the wedding party, but because we're, super heteronormative gender shit in the world, is mostly men are in the men's party and women are in the women's party. So they had
olive branch is to bring
bring in your opposite sex sibling would be in the party of the groom.
This is big.
I
This
know.
is
I just
precedent.
had this revelation.
It's hard to argue with precedent. I have to say, I understand the underlying dynamic that adds up to me. It is not reciprocal. In other words, it's not a reason. It's not the same thing.
It's kind of not. It's kind of not.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not, because you're not going across. You want to go across. That spot's taken. It's taken by their fiance's sister, not my sibling's fiance.
Yeah.
I get it now. Shano, well done. We got to put that in the greatest hits of Shano.
I don't know.
I think you saw into it. I think that there isn't a precedent as much to do that. And that, to me, I think OP is in between a rock and a hard place, but I think you've moved me where I'm like, I think mutual support here is not reasonable.
Yeah, because unfortunately, and this might be mean because like it, I mean, a lot of people deal with it. Like, you're just not really like as important to her as like she probably is to you. Because, and maybe that's like not the case and maybe that's mean, but like your partner's siblings, like as the partner, you always want to have a good relationship with your partner's sibling. Like she doesn't really have the, what's the word I'm looking for? Obligation to like have you be as important in her life as she is in yours. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like when you are coming into a family, because OP is like coming into this family, like these are her in-laws, right?
Yeah.
You want them to like you. She doesn't have as much of a need for you to like her.
I'm clicking
because
in.
she's the sister.
Exactly.
She's
So
gonna
my
be there no
brother-
matter what.
Exactly. My brother has a wife and she's great, but it's more important. She needs to win my favor. I don't need to win her
Totally.
favor. I'm like, I got my brother, dog.
Totally.
I
Like
get
it's
it.
more
Oh, you're
important
so
for
right.
me that Max's brothers like me
Right.
than they probably don't give a fuck if I like
They're
them.
not going to work. Yeah, they're not going to work.
They're not
get
going
it.
to work to like for
You
me
need
to
it.
like
You-
them.
It helps your politics.
Exactly.
Right.
Like I need to have a good relationship with them because I want to, and it's important to me. It's important for me to have a good relationship with my partner's family. It's really not important to them the other way, unfortunately.
I think this is one of the great Shano insights. I think you nailed it. This is an unreasonable expectation. I think this is accepting, to just like zoom out a little, this is a role thing. And I think you nailed it. The role of the partner needs to accept that, like, yeah, you kind of have to eat shit. You kind of have to eat shit when it comes to your fiance's family.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, they're not that interested in you. You're there to win their favor.
Yeah.
And that's tough. It's a tough role. I mean, I really felt like I was in that role, and I felt like I did it, and I kneeled, and I was on my fucking knees for years.
Yeah.
And eventually I did get sick of it. I was like, I tried really hard with you guys.
Totally.
I'm out of
I mean, at
effort.
some point you gotta. But it does sound like here that you do have a really good relationship with her. I just think that maybe the expectation shouldn't be. Now, if this was his brother's fiance, not his sister. Oh my God. Pay attention.
I know. This was whose
If
brother's
this was OP's fiance's brother,
If this was OP's
fiance's brother's fiance.
OP's brother's fiance.
If they were both going to be sister-in-laws by marriage.
Okay.
Is that making sense?
I'm trying. Yeah, just go forward. I'll try.
Then I can see it because then you're both the in-laws. Like, for example, this weekend, actually, shout out Amanda, Max's sister, new sister-in-law. I'm going to her bachelorette party. But we're both in-laws in
You're
the
both
family.
trying to curry Max's family's favor. I get it. That's what it is, though.
Yeah, and so I can see, and because, I mean, and we very much get along. And I'm really excited to like bond more with her and
Right.
get to know her friends
There
and
is
everything.
a reciprocity there. You're playing the same game.
Well, and also, I mean, we're really going to have a lot of fun together. I think we
Sure.
really like each other. But minus the games is I do think that if, you know, I can see being upset like, oh, well, I invited her. Why didn't she invite me? Because we are in the same position in the family. Yes. So
Outsiders.
we're outsiders. We're the in-laws. We're the in-laws.
Yes.
But she is not an in-law. This is your brother's sister. And I think she does have the right to want to just have her close friends and family and then her fiance's sister.
Yeah. No, you nailed it. 10 out of 10. I would not have seen it that way. This is not a situation where reciprocity is expected. It's rare, but in human relationships, I think you broke this down beautifully. This is simply something you have to do. This is part of getting in with your in-laws, which is
Yeah.
part of it. It's important.
Here's a couple comments and OP responds. Someone says, info, are you one of her bridesmaids? I'd say just because you invited her to do these things doesn't mean she has the obligation to reciprocate. If you do decide to uninvite her, I'd go NTA. It's your wedding, and the people who are standing up there with you should be people who make you feel good about yourself. OP responds, as of right now, she has not asked me. Fiance insists that she will, and he is baffled. if she doesn't but hasn't said anything yet. I agree that no one has to do anything for their wedding, but I also think it's normal to think through how your actions will make people feel, and her decision to not reciprocate has made me feel small and sad, and consequently I'm no longer excited about having her part of my bridal party. I understand your feelings like 100%.
Yeah.
I would definitely feel sad about this too, and I would, especially because it's happening at the same time. Like, I think it would be so fun to be doing these things together. And it does sound like you guys are friends. So I would definitely feel that way for sure. I don't think personally that you should uninvite her, because again, I do feel like one of the reasons why she is in your bridal party is because your fiance probably also wants her in the bridal party. Like, it's not just necessarily about you. I think
It's not all about you.
about the couple, I would say that he wants his sister in the wedding party. I think that's important to him. I do think it would be really nice if she at least invited you to the bachelorette. I've talked about this before. That's the freaking sweet spot. That is where I've been for years now, is like, I'm the friend that gets invited to the bachelorette, but I'm not in the bridal party, because then I don't have to get the dress. I don't have to wake up early to get my makeup done. I have less responsibilities, and it's like the perfect little spot, because you can go and have the fun.
Meeting the mids. That's a good way to
Yeah, so I think it would be really, really nice if she did that, because the bachelorette a lot of times is opened to a bigger group than how many you want standing up there.
I'm totally with you. I think this is also just a classic case, and I'm so happy I know this now. I think understanding roles, we talk about it in a million different ways. And understanding your role with certain people is kind of what we talk about when we talk about boundaries and all these things. And this is just a classic case of, well, if your expectations hadn't been set wrong, you probably wouldn't be disappointed. But you expected reciprocity, and that just wasn't your role here. You're not in a reciprocal role with these siblings of your fiance.
Yeah.
You're not.
I have to agree.
You're trying to get in that circle. Work it.
Yeah, you got to work it.
It's work.
And you won't be playing the game right if you uninvite her.
No, it's a huge botch. So her feelings are valid. I understand them, but getting a good sensation of your role, a good sense of your role, excuse me. I don't know if you should get a sensation. Yeah, I'm the sister-in-law. I'm feeling it. But I think you nailed this one, Shano. I got to give you big props. You blew my damn mind there, and I can't even hold this many relationships in my head. So,
yeah, I think we might be going. You would be.
Would I be the asshole if I uninvited my future sister-in-law from being a bridesmaid? I have to say this would be a tactical nightmare that would work against her interest.
Your mother and father-in-law would probably not be happy about this either.
Nope.
It would cause drama when there just doesn't need to be drama. If you do want to talk to her, like if you do actually feel like you have that good of a relationship with her, that like you are genuinely friends and it's not just this is your in-law, and you do feel comfortable because you know better than us that you want to say the last line, I don't think that there's anything wrong with the last line that she says here of like, you don't seem like you're mutual supporting each other. Are you wondering if you still want to be a bridesmaid? I personally don't think you should do this, but if you know it better than us.
I think I'm okay with I'm wondering if you still want to be a bridesmaid coming out, but I think as you've established,
the mutually supporting, because then you are putting her in a really uncomfortable position.
Yeah, I think you could just do it more casually, like, hey, just checking in, bridesmaid party coming up. You still down?
Bridesmaids party.
I don't know the name.
Bachelorette. Yeah, no,
whatever. I'm so tired.
You still down? No, I like that. And then maybe that's when she'd be like, yeah, and you want to come to mine?
And this is such a great proof of something we say a lot of different ways. But like, I know a wedding is an opportunity for a woman to be a princess, and it's all about her. It's all about her.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, though. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. There's game playing, there's politicking, and it's key. It's part of it. And there are just situations, no matter who you are in this world, where you have to play the role of, trying to curry the favor of others. Totally. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, exactly. So on the title literal of would I be the asshole if I uninvited my future sister-in-law? Yes.
YTA.
If
she put it a little gently, but in general, I think I don't think she's being malicious, but I think you pinpointed that this is just a bad expectation, an unreasonable expectation. So I think we agree it's YTA.
Yeah. Thank you for writing in though, and I hope that helps. I hope we get to you before you do it and just give you a different perspective. But again, as I said, you know your situation best, but that's just our opinion.
Well, guys, thank you for listening. We're going to do a little bit of casual banter here. I do have an update. Some of you might know I had a neighbor, Dora, who was just, Dora. She's, 100 years old.
Dora.
And she always had a problem. It was always an emergency, and I would try to solve her problems and eventually realize the problem is that she's lonely and she just wanted someone to interface with her.
Danny was basically her pseudo husband for a year and a half.
I had nightmares about her, that we lived in the same apartment. It was a lot.
God.
But anyway,
she gave me the stink eye when I walked by the one day. She couldn't believe another woman was within 20 feet of Danny's apartment.
I couldn't believe it either, but she didn't need to know that. But the thing is, she disappeared one day. And she would, by the way, she'd always have her door open. Like, she was very around. She just disappeared. And I was like, oh my God, I think, she was 80 something easy. So I was like, oh my God, I think Dora. So, and she has a roommate, Rodolfo. And so I opened my door one day, I'm hearing like tape for an hour. I'm like, what is being taped? Surely, I'm not exaggerating. I open the door and see a cartoonishly huge box. You could have put a Geo Metro in this box in the hallway. I was like, what is this for? And Rodolfo's taping it up. And I was just like, hey, man, nice box. What happened to Dora? Turns out he and Dora were having the same argument that I had with her, which is, I'm not taking you to Lassen's, which is, it's our natural Whole Foods competitor that's Christian, and it's closed on Sundays, and everyone is mad at them for that.
Oh, I didn't know it was Christian.
I assume that's why they're closed Sundays.
That makes sense. Chick-fil-A.
Right?
Chick-fil-A and Lassen's.
Every time I go there on Sundays, I'm like, ugh. And I'm pretty sure everyone is annoyed by this. And I walked by there on Sundays, and every time you walk outside, there's people having the conversation. It's closed Sundays. What kind of grocery store is closed Sundays?
Oh my God.
But anyway, I didn't want to take her because obviously she's old, and I was worried she would hurt herself from falling. And so Rodolfo and her had the exact same combo, and she stubbornly is like, no, I want to go. And she fell down the stairs, insisting that she would go. Broke her leg in 2 places, I guess.
Oh no. So then where is she?
I guess she's in she's in Lassen's hospital. I don't know. She's in some kind of care unit.
Wait, didn't you tell this story already, or did you just tell me?
Oh, I thought I just learned. I told you about this already?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because now I'm wondering if we already talked about this on the pod, or you told me otherwise.
I thought I just found this out like 2 days ago.
No, you told me about it.
All
right, well, let's see.
I don't got a lot going on, so maybe I'm losing my own memory. I already told you about this?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I don't remember telling you.
I remember, yes, the cartoonish box and everything.
It sounds like I definitely told you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I guess I'm losing my mind.
No. You're fine.
I don't have any talking points. I've just been
really either.
working on my little jokes and
that's good.
living my little life.
He's got some stand-up shows in April.
Yeah, late April, doing a run with my buddy Lucas. He's headlining Modesto, Groveland, Sacramento, Bakersfield, Energy. So hit me up. Would love to see you guys. And this episode should come out somewhat before then.
Oh, good. Yeah, I don't really have anything. I mean, I already told most of my stuff on the bonus, but I had my birthday. I went to Benihana. Benihana was the spot in the 2000s for your birthday.
Yeah.
Sure was. And so I was like, why not? And I was with all my Jersey friends. So
love it.
We just did it again. Did it up. But I do remember there being like fried ice cream back in the day, which have you ever had fried ice cream? It's so amazing.
There was this place in Phoenix called Mi Amigo Ricardo or Mi Amigos or something.
Yeah.
And they had the best carne asada and the best fried ice cream.
Fried ice cream is amazing. And I swear they used to have it, but they didn't. It was just green tea. But this one time...
Quite a different thing.
Green tea ice cream.
Oh, okay.
But this one time, parallel parking Maddie and I were at Benihana, and the people that we were at the table with didn't finish their fried ice cream.
You did it. Tell me you did it.
And then we went and we just ate the rest of their fried ice
I
cream.
love that. I think about doing that all the time. People will leave
like,
like
don't
a
waste
whole sandwich. I'm like, that's a half sandwich. I didn't even touch it.
I know. And then our other two friends were like, you guys are disgusting. We're like, what? It's good.
I get it.
It's fried ice cream, honey. It's
Reach
already
out.
bad for you.
I know, right?
What is the little germs of somebody gonna do? This is already damaging me. But
Nice.
I used to do that all the time. All the time when I was a server right before the pandemic. I would just like eat off of people's plates.
As a server.
Yeah. Not in there, but I would bring it back with me. Like, behind.
Because they didn't touch it.
No, this was even when they would touch it, but not like bites, but say it was like mussels and fries. Like I would like eat that. But it's like that whole year though that I worked at this restaurant, I was sick so often. And I'm like, after the pandemic, I was like, no shit. You were always sick. You were eating off of people's plates.
Wow.
But I'm like a germaphobe now.
I'm struggling.
And I don't know that I don't know that I like it though, because I feel like I'm always thinking about it now.
Yeah.
Like I'm always having to sanitize my hands, always having to clean my hands and
You're
stuff.
kind of like a grimy, nasty comedian.
Why do you say that?
Well, it's just so unexpected. But like the more I get to know you, I'm like, you remind me of so many like just grimers I know.
Oh,
and
like
myself.
with how I would eat people's food?
How you eat other people's food. Just, you are, piss goblin. It's just
Definitely,
classic
yeah.
Shanno.
Super, just not a lot of, just different kinds of etiquette, I'd say.
Sure.
Beat of my own drum when it comes to what's appropriate.
Just eating mussels over the sink.
I know. The sauce on the mussels was so unbelievably good though. Like I was like, I don't even give a fuck.
Surely.
So good.
I
So
love that
good.
for you.
But I'm a changed woman. I don't really do that anymore. I'm like skeeved out now when people are like trying to share stuff with me or like.
No, you want to share?
I mean, if it's like chips and dip, like of course,
I love
but
chips so much.
but like I'm not trying to like you take a bite, I take a bite. And then like my parents, like, they don't care about germs at all still, and my sister, and they're always like taking my water bottle and drinking out of it now. And I'm like, but maybe they don't realize I'm a changed girl. I don't do that anymore.
He
when
goes,
I'm around
that's
them,
a water bottle. He goes, that's a water bottle.
I was thinking about that the other day because I was just listening to that episode back of This Is My Dad, where he has pronoun issues, but nothing to do with
non-binary. Respecting pronouns. He just can't seem to keep his pronouns straight.
Yeah, he thinks everyone's a he. But it's when he I wanted to correct it because when I was listening back, I thought maybe you didn't understand. It's like when he's recounting stories. You understood that, right?
So it only manifests if he's like, yeah, one time we were at the Grand Canyon and Shannon was
he goes.
corn.
Yeah, it's like when you're quoting he goes, meaning it's like
could mean she goes.
Yeah, could mean she goes, could mean I go, or I said.
So confusing. He sounds like a terrible storyteller.
But it's
just so lost.
Yeah, it's like when he's quoting himself. He goes, yeah, I love that Grand Canyon. And it's like, who is he? And because then, you don't understand what he's saying half the time because you're like, well, now I'm lost. Like, who said that?
Who said that, Dad? What are you talking
Who
about?
is he?
He goes.
He goes.
Classic.
I gotta find that video of him. It's so funny.
All right, guys. I think that's it. Much love.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.